Here we go. We just got this is the package here for one of the units. Truck and engine and generators. So when you open the packet, you're going to see this. You're going to see a little bracket inside. This is the unit itself here. So we're going to pull that out of its plastic. We'll talk about the settings on this shortly, but essentially this is what we call the PCB or the motherboard. These are our settings here. So you've got three different settings, and this is our vacuum sensor and a potentiometer in there. So we can go through that shortly as we're doing the settings for whatever the application is. Essentially what happens is we pull this little black plug out here, we connect the hose to this, and then we run our tube out, which goes into the engine air intake, which we'll run over shortly. So the next thing you get in the box is you'll see all the electrical wires and connections and some cable zip ties. So the other thing you're going to get in the box is some different wiring. This is the main wire that connects to the unit. So I'll run over that. So this wire here gets plugged into this part of the unit here, just clips in, and that simply has a power connection and an earth connection. It's quite basic, and we'll run over identifying the power source shortly. So you have those, some cable ties if you just prefer to secure it if we're doing a trial, or if we're not screwing it into anywhere. And what we're going to use today on this, is this a Kubota? On the Kubota, yep. Is this is like our little replacement fuse. So what we do, we've sourced a power source, which we'll talk about shortly. We're going to remove the fuse from the power source. We're going to put it in here in this empty hole, and we're going to plug this directly into the power source, and then we're going to connect it up to the cable. So there's some other ones for the larger fuses, or if we have to, we can connect directly to the battery, directly to 12 or 24 volts as well. So that's pretty much what's in your box. A manual as well. We'll give you a calculator for doing the settings, but in the manual there's English part in here somewhere, and you can actually see it explains how to set the units. In the manual here there's a little table if you're doing hours, diesel, petrol, LPG, whatever it is, and that basically explains the settings on the unit. So we'll go through how we set the unit shortly, and we always fill out this installation form here just with a signature and what it was installed on for warranty purposes. And lastly the tube, the hydrogen tube. So this is what connects to the unit and then gets fed into the air intake of the engine. Basically the hydrogen is carried by this tube into the air intake, and then you're good to go. So we went to identify the power source. Usually we'd look at something around here, but because when we put our little fitting in here that we couldn't close the lid, so it wasn't going to be safe. So we've found another power source using this part in our box. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out this fuse, this 10 amp fuse here. We're going to place it into this part, and then we're going to put this with the cap over here, put that in line with the existing fuse, connect it. Yeah, so it's nice and solid. Then I'm just going to cap it off with the one that was on there, cap those two fuses off. And just to test it, we've got a little test light here we're going to test. So this is with the key off and with the key on. So we know that when we turn the engine off, there's no hydrogen present on the vehicle. When we turn the key on, it's starting to generate. So it actually won't generate hydrogen so it'll be in standby mode until the engine's running and the alternator's actually producing 13.4 volts. So it's defaulting on 13.4 volts. Now when we're doing this, and sometimes older cars, older vehicles have a weak alternator. So on the unit itself there's a little potentiometer. So if the alternator isn't producing 13.4 volts, maybe it's producing 12.9, 12.4, we can just dial this little potentiometer back, that little blue one there, just ever so slightly until the light comes on when the engine's running. When you turn the ignition off, the light will turn off. When you turn it on, it'll be on standby, and when you're starting, it'll be producing hydrogen. So that's what we want. So you won't see this light running until the engine is running, the alternator is producing whatever voltage we've set to here. The light will turn on when it's producing hydrogen. So even in standby mode, you won't see a light on the unit itself. You'll only see it when it's starting to produce hydrogen. We've found a good spot on these mowers that is really uninvasive, and we can actually, what we've checked is that we can still close the lid, and there's going to be no issues there. So we're going to put our unit down here. It's nice. It's a cool spot, so there's no exhaust fumes, or it's not in a hot area. So we're going to make sure that we're always away from the exhaust. We're going to run our hydrogen tube. So we're going to run it up through over here into the engine air intake over this side. So on this particular engine, there's no turbos or anything like that. Usually what we'll do is we'll install it after a turbo, after any airflow meters or anything like that. Not that it will affect any airflow meters, but we prefer to do it after an airflow meter, just for extra precaution. And we're gonna install around about here, where the hydrogen's going to get collected by the air. It's going to get drawn into the engine, and then voila, we've got a better combustion. I've selected this little part here for our hydrogen tube. So we're going to drill a 5mm, exactly 5mm hole into this harder plastic side of the clean side of the air intake, which is going to get inserted into here. We're going to remove this rubber bit, so that any bits of plastic are going to just fall out. They're not going to get sucked into the engine, which is obviously the main thing. And we're going to put our 5mm hole somewhere around here. So, and then once we connect the rubber tube, it'll just go directly into there. Perfect.